players fail to break their PR because they're focused on the wrong stuff. Instead of focusing on loadouts, cheaters, and SPMM, you need to work on these 5 skills so that you can actually earn a 20 bomb instead of hoping for one. It's time to get good. So to drop your PR, one of the very first skills that you need to work on is the phases of Warzone. I've made a video that goes really in depth on my channel. You can watch that, but we have the early game, mid game, regain, and late game phase. Right now we're in the early game phase. The goal of the early game is to get your loadout down as soon as humanly possible. Now there's a couple ways we can do this. We can land on a scavenger contract, we can land on a recon. It doesn't matter what contract you pick. I like the scav. But the point is, if we're landing in, trying to get a contract done, get our loadout down as soon as possible. Now, there's some intricacies and nuance that go into that. I love to plan out my drop as perfectly as I can, know exactly where the contract is, land optimally. See right there, I'm breaking in. I already have the contract before most people are even on the ground. Now, from here, it's get a gun, right? It's either get a gun contract or contract get a gun.
Down the enemy. Supply box
If you listen.
Secure those locations.
Very distinct rooftop footsteps. The footsteps versus like the concrete inside this building and the footsteps that are on top of the roof have a different kind of pitch to them. I am going to be making a video about audio, but the point is I heard that guy up on the roof. We have a gun. I'm here really early. This guy's probably late. A lot of times there isn't a lot of you know, guns on the top of this roof. We hear him open up a crate. Terrible aim out of me, and I'm going to explain why. Terrible aim out of me. I haven't been playing. By the way, if you guys have been wondering where I've been, I haven't been uploading. I've been moving, so I haven't played a lot of COD. But I want to point out why my aim was bad here. I want you to not pay attention to what we're shooting at. I want you to pay attention to how my gun moves left and right here. Basically, what I'm trying to explain to you is I moved my left stick way too much left and right when I could have just either strafed into this crate here or, you know, strafed one direction. But the point is I moved my left stick too much, which also threw off my right stick. I go left, right, left, right, left, right. Doesn't matter. We end up getting the kill. Just goes to show everybody makes mistakes. This actually isn't even that clean of a game for me. End up dropping 20+ kill game here. Definitely not my PR, but... All right, so the next skill that I want to talk about is... Obviously, we're going to be talking about all of these skills throughout the video, but the next skill that I want to talk about, besides the early game phase, is information. Information comes in the form of UAVs, audio cues like we just talked about, and just visual information. So if we look up at our mini-map here, we got obviously a helicopter. We also shot at the guy coming out of the sky, but we also live pinged him. The reason we live ping him is because that's going to tell us where he's going to go. All right, so now I know he's over to the left. Playing up here, I hear a door open to my right. And so I sort of look that way. I should have held my trigger discipline here. I didn't. And this will bring us to the next thing we're going to talk about, which is the skill of winning 1v1s. Another thing that we're going to talk about with every single kill. Make sure you pay attention to this stuff. I decide to leave this because I gave up my element of surprise. My main objective is to get loadout down at this point. If I was in the mid-game phase where we're trying to get a bunch of contracts done and we're trying to get a bunch of kills, I would probably chase this. But because I'm more focused on getting the contract done, I know there's more people around me. If I take too long to fight that guy, things are just going to get hairy. One of the worst things you can do in Warzone is make your 1v1 take forever. The longer your 1v1 takes, the more randomness, the more chaos, the more Warzone you're inviting into your game. So I just decided to prio my scavenger contract here. I knew there were some other guys nearby. Skip a little bit ahead here. Again, we're not sitting here looting for too long. I'm just making sure that I have, you know, guns to fight with, and we're continuing to move to our contracts. Pay attention up to the mini-map here. We got a red dot on our level outside of the quarry/tin building, which is what I call it. Red dot outside of our level, so that means there's two guys probably fighting on the outside over here, right? Reading your mini-map is a gigantic skill, and we're going to go way more in depth on that later in the video on some more UAV stuff, but... So I'm going to back it up, explain what I'm thinking here. We jump out. I'm anticipating this guy maybe to come out and loot, right? We see a dead body here on the ground. See a dead body right there. I'm anticipating him to maybe come back out and loot, and so my crosshair or my aim is centered exactly where I think that guy's going to come out. But if you pay attention to his footsteps, they start to go left, and then we hear metal, okay? So pay attention to this. I lied, it was concrete. So I'm fully anticipating this guy running up the stairs because I heard him go left. I get a little bit of awkward timing here. Get a little bit of awkward timing here, but flash grenades make this easy. Okay, so from here, what should we be doing? What should we be doing? It's the early game phase. We want to focus on getting our loadout down as soon as possible. We already have 2 grand. If I complete the scavenger, I will have enough for loadout. Loadout in solos is 6 grand. So I don't need to do any more looting here. What I see a lot of people do, not only in the early game, but all phases of the game, is they just loot too much. We don't need to loot. We have $2,700. If we complete the contract, we'll have 6. That'll be enough for the loadout.
Change your max.
So when we're talking about dropping PRs in the early game phase, around the time that I have loadout, or usually before the player count hits like 100, I try to have 3 to 5 kills at least. That's a good little indicator of a start towards a 20 bomb in Warzone. In case you're wondering, somewhere between 3 to 5 kills, usually how I like to start. If it's more than that, great. If it's not the end of the world. Okay, so we're just gonna climb up this ladder, finish our scav. Now we immediately come down here, and we're getting loadout. So now we are out of the early game phase. The second you get loadout down, you are in the mid game phase. Again, there's a video on that if you want to watch that. The goal of the mid game phase is to complete as many objectives as we possibly can in the form of contracts and kills. I give a little bit more preference to contracts in BR, a little bit more preference to kills in Resurgence. Since we're in BR, I'm going to be focusing a lot on contracts this game. The reason we're doing that is because we're trying to snowball our cash flow as much as we can for the end game when we want to spend a bunch of money, you know, popping UAVs, getting our end game checklist, all of that stuff we'll talk about in a little bit. But as we're popping loadout here, you can see up on the minimap, we got a car rotating nearby. What is that car going to think? You need to put yourself in that person's shoes. What is that car going to think? It's going to see the red loadout smoke. It's going to see the red loadout smoke right here, right? He's probably going to rotate near me, right? A lot of people, when they see a loadout smoke, they're like, oh, this is an easy third party, or what's going on here? They try to third party. And so rather than focusing on my loadout, I'm focusing on the car right now. I don't want to give him my power position. Right now, we could sort of look at this little compound area as our power position. And so the longer I take to protect my power position, the more likely he is to get inside this fence, to get inside this building, to get inside my face, right? We want to make sure that we don't let him over this fence.
Headed your way.
Gets out of the car. Where's he going to get out of the car? Right in the corner. Got really good timing there. I didn't let him over the fence. Now we have his plates broken. I have the advantage. We have first shots. I have high ground. His plates are broken. From here, I can just play aggressive. Want to point out really quick, I see this sniper. We got the Semtex. I throw my Semtex at this guy to maybe try and get the kill. There's just a little bit of things happening here, but the point is there's a sniper. You're going to see me play this very aggressively, and honestly, I wouldn't recommend this for most people. I'm just very confident with my ability to stay moving that I'm going to be a really hard target for any sniper. I get first shots again, break this guy's plates, and then I just reach out. Immediately turn around. I don't focus on the loot. I don't start running in a straight line. I continue to make sure that I'm a hard target. Again, I don't want to recommend that you do this, but because I'm so confident in my gameplay, my skills, my movement, I'm okay doing this. The sniper actually ends up being not great. Break his plates. I just keep firing. Pop the precision on him. I don't want to sit there and reload my AR, so I slide to the left. I'm just trying to get a better angle on this. That guy ends up being trash. Is what it is. So like I said, we have 4 kills with 110 players up. This is a really good start to the game, but now we are in the mid-game phase. We talked about it. The mid-game phase is about getting as many contracts or as many objectives done in the form of contracts and kills. So I don't spend too much time here. I don't, sit here and stare at this guy's loot. I already have my loadout. Mid-game phase is about getting our cash flow going. So what should we be doing right now? It's pretty obvious to most people, but you'd be very surprised. For the mid-game phase, what we should be doing right now is either... Some people would say grab a self-res, but I disagree because you have Gulag. The right answer would be UAV. We want to get a UAV, but part B to that is like, how do we use the UAV? Are you just going to grab a UAV here and pop it? No, because we pretty much already killed everybody that landed with us here, right? So if we pop a UAV, we might get 1 kill and then maybe find a second. It's a really bad use of a UAV. You might see me do that in certain situations, but 90% of the time you will see me use a UAV to complete some or other form of objective. Usually I try to pair the UAV with a contract, probably a bounty. Grab the car here that this guy so generously gave us. What should we be doing right now? What is the most optimal contract for us? You might say, oh, maybe we should go do a recon, figure out what the zone is. I disagree. You could say, oh, let's go grab one of these bounties. I choose to grab this bounty for a very specific reason. If I grab one of these bounties, there's a less than 0% chance, maybe like a 25% chance that bounty pulls over to downtown. I hate fighting downtown. And so the reason I come over to this bounty is because I'm trying to make sure that we have good pacing, which is the third skill for dropping your PR in Warzone. You don't want to waste time. You don't want to spend time doing things that are going to burn time. We want to get our 1v1s over with as soon as possible. On to the next thing. Contract, next thing. Kill, next thing, next thing, next thing, next. I see so many players waste time in Warzone, looting especially, sitting in corners, letting their gunfights take forever. We just want to be bouncing from the next thing to the next thing to the next thing. That's the only way you can, get into as many gunfights as you can that are going to help you improve. Also drop your 20 bomb. So the reason I'm picking the bounty is I'm worried it's going to pull here if I grab these ones. Sorry, long-winded explanation for that. If you guys are enjoying this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, if you're watching these kind of videos, you're trying to get better at the game, why do you not have a pro controller? Check out scuff.com, use code Berger, get a pro controller. It's one of those things you could never not have. Once you have it, you could never play without it. All right, so as we're pulling up here to the contract, we got one guy shooting at us. I'm going to actually back up here for a second because I did ping something while I was yapping. Oh, while we're rolling over here, I noticed that if you look in the middle of our screen up here, we got loadout smoke. And so what you're going to see me do is ping that, right? Because that's a piece of information. You don't always need a UAV to tell you where people are. You don't always need audio cues. A lot of times you can see stuff on the map, see cars disappear, all that sort of stuff kind of lets me know where players are. So you're going to see me danger ping that for later. But then as I was saying, we get shot from behind here. Now I want you to pay attention up to this, right? There's two things that I'm paying attention to. One, this guy is on the outside of his house, right? And so what is our biggest threat right now as we're pushing into this building or grabbing this building? What is our biggest threat? Our biggest threat is letting this guy take our power position, right? I want to make sure that if he's going to cross that road, we can see that he's on the outside of the house. He's just shooting at us. He might think he has some damage. If he tries to cross the road, I don't want to let him into our house for free, right? I want to make sure that I punish it, at least try to punish it or prevent him from getting in. I'm not saying don't let him in, but we want to make sure that we punish him for doing it so we can get first shots. Now, I actually end up making a mistake here. I do try to defend my power position. I anticipated him to run through the door. This all happened so fast. I was anticipating him to run through the door. He actually makes a really good play to the window. I don't know if he meant to do that, but I didn't like that gunfight. Really good flick out of me, but now it's a little hairy. I'm shooting through a window. He's shooting through a window. To be honest, I probably should have held irons, but the main mistake I made here was I didn't reload my LC-10. I'll probably kill this guy. If my LC-10 was reloaded. It is what it is. Everybody makes mistakes. I should have also held irons here. Okay, so we talked about the early game phase, the mid game phase. Whenever you die, you go into the regain phase. The regain phase is a phase of Warzone that you absolutely need to learn. You need to master. Obviously, we just want to win our gulag. It's not that complicated. It's just a 1v1. I'm not going to talk too much about the gulag here. What I want to talk about is what happens after the gulag. The main goal of the regain phase is to get back into the game as safely and quickly as possible, right? We don't want to spend too much time. This is the biggest pacing mistake that I see people make, is their regains are really slow, or they're not optimal, they're not getting their guns back quick enough. We're going to talk a little bit about how to maintain pacing when you die. My goal in the gulag is always just to take middle and use our ears. He goes left, goes right. Hold irons. First shots, tracker. Nothing complicated about that. So it's unfortunate. We burn our gulag early, but it's Warzone. It's Warzone. There's 150 players that get a vote, so it's going to happen. It is gonna happen. All right, so we're in the regain phase. We need to figure out what we want to do. How can we quickly and safely get back into the game? What I'm thinking here is, okay, I just got out of here. I fought 2 guys over here, and I dropped a loadout drop. So there's got to be guns around here somewhere, right? That's what I'm thinking. I'm also thinking I need transportation, because once I get there, I need to do something else, right? Like, we want to think about doing a contract. We want to think about maybe going to get our guns. So I'm going to need transportation. I'm in the air right now. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to hit this car. I'm going to quickly drive over here, grab a gun, and then go do some sort of objective, right? I'm landing with a plan. I'm not just reacting like, oh, I guess I'll drop TV station. Now there's people there. Oh, I'm dead. Game's over, right? No, I'm landing in with a plan. Just like in the early game, I have a plan for exactly what I'm going to do. You'll see that's exactly what I ended up doing here. Skip ahead just a little bit. Grab the car. I drive back over. Unfortunately, and I know this is a bug. But sometimes I just make, dumb decisions. I knew this is a bug, but I was like, maybe this one time it'll be okay. In the early game, for whatever reasons, when someone picks up a gun, it despawns. When they die, it despawns for some reason. I don't know why that is. It didn't used to be like that. But even if you drop your loadout early in the game, if it's on the ground, sometimes it just despawns. More often than not. So you can see the guy we killed over here, none of his stuff is here. My stuff, not over here, right? This guy's stuff, not over here. And so my plan kind of went to crap right away. Immediately I have to adjust, okay? And so I don't have any guns. What is really the only thing I can do right now? It's find a gun, do a contract, right? I just need to find a gun somewhere else and do a contract. Looking around here, probably could have grabbed those plates. I'm looking at the map, and there actually ends up being a guy that shoots us here. We get away. I grab the bounty. Get a care package. Loot up. Plate up. We're back into the game now. Another thing I'm also thinking about sometimes is we're about to get free drop. So when I landed back over here and I started driving over here, I was like, I only have about 34 seconds until free drop. If you guys don't know, 15 seconds left in the first circle, you get free drop. So I didn't have to think too hard about my guns here because I knew I was getting them back. Skip a little bit ahead. Drop the care package. Get ourselves loaded up on ammo and armor. Once I pick my gun, now we are back straight into the mid-game phase. It's very simple. Mid-game phase is about doing as many contracts, objectives, kills as we can. I already have a bounty up. Let's go get them. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Okay. So a lot of times when I'm driving around, I try to absorb as much information as I can. You'll see me look at the map. Right now, I don't know what this guy's doing exactly, but he's out in the open, right? And so the quicker I get over there, the easier I can punish this. He's probably either rotating in this way or rotating out this way. Usually when people are on this, this open kill box area, they're rotating from one POI to the other. And so I want to make sure I get over there as soon as I can. Timing is a really big, important part of pacing, because if you don't get good timing in your gunfights, you're not going to be able to get them over with quicker, right? And so we got this guy floating up here. We're just going to end up ripping him out of the sky. Actually doesn't end up being my bounty. Just poor, unlucky guy. See his body fall right there. Okay, and so right away, I know that I didn't get, the bounty completion, notification on my screen. We also see up here in the top left that our bounty is still here, right? But the bounty it was here, and then it narrowed down over here. So now I know that this guy rotated probably from river, and he's rotating over to this POI. And so as I'm driving over here, I'm also turning my car camera to the left. I'm using the hill as a little bit of cover, and I'm turning my car camera to the left because I'm trying to get information to figure out where this guy is. We're kind of scanning. I don't see anything here. I don't see anything here. I don't see anything here. And so what that tells me is either this guy's climbing the ladder, which is pretty unlikely, or he's inside of one of these buildings. Or just, happen to not see him somehow. Ends up being right here on the wall. I know that I'm okay. Now we're in a 1v1 situation, right? This guy has a little bit of a power position. I want to try and take it from him. but he's done some damage to me. I need to reload my gun. And so I put on some plates, use this little head glitch here. Heartbeat for info. Don't have great eyes on that. So we rotate to the side. Now, right here, what would you do? What are you thinking? If you're thinking, vault this and start shooting this guy, you're going to die, right? We don't want to put ourselves in a vault animation. The reason we don't want to do that is because it gives up first shots. If that guy's just sitting there staring at the wall, then I'm going to give up first shots. I'm going to be stuck in this animation where my gun's not up and I'm just like, you're going to die, right? And so I know that I need to do something here to change that dynamic. What I'm thinking, I jump to visually confirm, then I chuck an impact grenade at him. That impact grenade is either going to A, make this back to a 50-50, because now if I vault, he's still going to eat that impact grenade before he does enough damage to kill me, right? And so that makes the fight more even. But what's probably going to happen is the impact grenade is going to make him move. He's either going to make him run to the left behind cover, or he's going to run towards me. And so now that gives me just a little sliver of time to get on top of this wall. I hit a different angle on the wall. He's in the middle of attack sprint, staring to the right here, right? Like we can see he's in the middle. Well, he was in the middle of attack sprint, and now he's looking this way, right? Because he was anticipating me either going to the right through the hole or vaulting over the wall. I hit it left with an impact grenade. Those tiny, teeny, tiny little things can turn gunfights in your favor. All right, so we completed a contract. If you guys don't know, whenever you complete a bounty, it gives you a UAV ping. I have to say that because some people don't realize that. From this point, we're going to talk a lot about information, which is one of the other skills. So far, we've talked about the phases of Warzone, winning 1v1s, information, pacing. The last one we'll talk about when the time is right. So right now, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. We're in the mid-game. I've got some money. We bought a UAV. What do I want to do now? I need to figure out some sort of objective. There's no bounties around me. I really like to do bounties, but more likely than not, especially now, if I grab this bounty, it's more likely to pull hospital, more likely to pull downtown than it is somewhere over here, right? And hospital and downtown are just, in my opinion, they'll slow down your game, because a lot of times if you pick a bounty up and it pulls downtown, they're going to go sit on top of a rooftop and it's going to take you 3 times as long to get that kill. So you might be thinking bounty here. I decided to do the supply run. Gonna skip a little bit ahead here. See a sniper. Hop out, use the car as cover. Just want to get him off of me, right? Like, it's not really a fight that I want to take. It's too far away. Don't have the element of surprise. But as I grab this contract, what is that guy possibly doing? Our biggest threat is him staring and waiting for us to get in the car, right? Pop a little smoke, go back to the ammo cache to get more smokes. Now we just get out of here. All right, I'm focusing on, this is a prime example of like focusing on the objective rather than one kill. There's a little bit of like a math in my head of like how valuable is it to get a kill versus a contract. A lot of times if I know that the kill is going to take a long time, if it's going to eat up a bunch of my game, I'm just going to go do the contract, because that's going to give me way more cash. And it's also going to help me later in the game because of that contract multiplier. So in BR, typically I like to focus on doing contracts over kills. Usually I like to do them both at the same time. In Resurgence, I just do kills. I think in general in Warzone, you always want to have a contract up no matter what. You don't want to drive all the way across the map to get a contract picked up. But just in general, it's always good to have a contract up, because if it's easy to do and you can do it, then we do it. If it gets poached, it gets poached, and then you get some money for it. So we have 7 kills with 40 up. This is not that great of pacing. This is honestly isn't great pacing for a PR. This isn't great pacing for what ends up being a 20+ kill game. We actually end up picking it up quite a bit here. What I want to talk about, this is a really good example of how to use UAVs in Warzone, right? Like I always try to say, use a UAV to complete an objective and get a bunch of kills and give yourself information, right? A lot of people, they just pop one UAV and get 1 kill. Complete waste of time. I use the UAV here to first make sure I'm safe completing the supply run, but then second, to also figure out where other players are. And so we look at the map here. We got one guy here, a ghosted player here, and a player here. I want to try to pick up 1 or 2 of these kills while the UAV is up, and then use that UAV to remember where other players are.
Scout is applied.
All right. So now we got one on Schoolhouse. We got one on Schoolhouse, one on Green Ping, right? So now I know where immediately I have this kill in mind and the next kill in mind. But think about what this player is doing right now. If we look up at the map, the red dot is showing an arrow up above us, and he's on top of Schoolhouse, right? He's on the edge of the Schoolhouse. And so what does that red dot tell you? That red dot tells me that he's sitting on top of that roof staring right at me, right? He saw me pull up in the car. He heard a UAV notification. It's very obvious to me, maybe not to some people, but that this guy is 100% staring at us, right? And so if I'm going to try and kill this guy, if I'm going to try and maximize the amount of kills I get here, I need to play this the way you'll see me play it, which is I know he's going to be looking at me. I don't want to just slow peek this. I'm going to ego chow it with good centering. I'm going to get first shots, and I'm going to track better. Now, 90% of the time, I'm probably not going to kill that guy, but I am going to make him hide, right? Like, my objective, honestly, wasn't to kill that guy. I'm going to take the kill if I can get it, right? But my main objective was to make him, you know, lay down for a second, and so that I could cross the street and get underneath him. But once he just, you know, didn't react well to it, I'm just going to take the kill. All right. So we got one kill out of the UAV. We got two more right next to us, right? Like, we know there's one IHOP. We know there's one here, and then we got two players over here, right? So we've already used UAV to complete a supply run safely, get one kill, and we're already on our second kill. This is the difference between good and great players. It's how they use their UAVs. This is an example of me using a UAV really well. Later in the game, we'll talk about how I don't use a UAV very well. So I saw that his arrow was up, trying to figure out where this guy is. Right, like if we back up just for a second here, I know I was yapping. I guess it's on my level. But my level is a little bit... This is kind of a tricky situation because it's very based on, like, the red dots with the arrows is based on the levels, right? And so because I'm a little bit higher than ground floor here, like I'm going to be running downhill a little bit, I'm thinking, okay, more likely than not, he's here, right? And he could be on the window, maybe coming up top. Point is, we had that information. Red dot was on our level. So as I push up here, I make sure that I check the window. Heartbeat also tells me he's directly ahead of me, right? So what's directly ahead of me? Then I see his gun sticking out here, right? If you look, you see his gun sticking out here. All right, like I said, supply run completed safely. One kill, two kills. Now I know that even with the UAVs not being popped right now, I know there's another guy here, right? So should I pop my UAV? No, we should not pop our UAV, right? We already know there's somebody here. We have the information that he's generally in this area. I have a heartbeat, right? This is another example of like pacing and cash, like all of this stuff kind of blends together sometimes. If you pop a UAV here, you're going to waste this other UAV. We're going to waste it, right? If we pop this UAV to try and locate exactly where this guy is, we're going to waste it. We already know he's over here. Let's use the heartbeat and our audio cues and our eyes to figure it out. Because if we pop a UAV, we're going to waste that money, and it's going to kill our cash flow, kill our pacing. So you're going to kind of see me shoulder, try to figure out where this guy's at. We got the heartbeat, shows us he's up and to the left. So I play off to the right, get a little bit of high ground, a little bit of head glitch, a little bit of cover. Now I know that he's either right behind this building or right inside this building somewhere. And so from here, it's just a process of elimination, right? Slowly tightening the noose on this guy. I couldn't tell for sure if he was behind it or in it. I didn't mean to do that. I was trying to pull out my heartbeat. So now with the third heartbeat pop, I know that he's in this room. So if we back up just a hair here, without context, right? Without context or without a kill cam, I'm going to back it up again. Without context or without a kill cam, this guy wouldn't know that I know exactly where he's at, right? Like you might be like, how do you know where this guy is? Because I'm about to wallbang him. He's just to the right of straight ahead of me, right? And so if we look straight ahead of me, he's just to the right of straight ahead of me. That's going to be right inside one of the corners. He's either right behind this door or on the other side of the wall in that room. So like that looks like cheats, but it's just information. Information is a skill in Warzone. I would say information, UAVs, audio, heartbeat, the way you read the map, the way you read scenarios is just as, if not more important than your aim and your movement and your loadouts. It's just as important as those things. And that's a skill that's holding you back in Warzone, for sure. When I was learning solo squads, it was the #1 thing I worked on was just like soaking up as much information on my minimap as possible, reading my minimap as much as possible, collecting as much information as I can. All of these things add up. The goal of this video is to help you guys raise your skill floor, right? We don't want to like just try to drop our PR and just try really hard and hope we get lucky. No, we want to raise our skills. We want to work on things and practice things that are going to make us so good on average that we're at a much higher likelihood to drop, you know, a 20 bomb or a PR or whatever. Because if you're down here, right, if we're down here in terms of skill level, it's going to be a lot harder to get to here for a 20 bomb or a 25 bomb or a 30 bomb. But if your skill level is up here and you're trying to drop a 20 bomb, it's going to be much easier, right? The goal is to raise our average and not reach, you know, for the stars all the time. Because you're going to get 20 bombs and get them consistently, and you're going to actually earn them, and it's going to feel more rewarding than if you just get into a bot lobby and get lucky. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So, we grabbed that big game bounty because we're trying to complete, or we're pinging that big game bounty because we're trying to complete objectives, right? I prefer the car. So I make the time to come back here and get the car. For any other contract in the game, I would not focus on grabbing that from that far away. But because it's a big game bounty, the big game bounty is going to give us a ton of money because we've already completed a bunch of contracts. And it's also going to give us the advanced UAV, which we'll talk about in a little bit. The sign is freaking out right now. Also pointing out, we are a big game bounty right now. Someone pulled a big game bounty on us. Okay, so what do we need to be thinking about? What do we need to be thinking about as we're pulling up to this? We need to be thinking about, okay, where is this contract? Are there people nearby that are gonna, you know, hold us? They're gonna see this car rotating up to this contract. This is a scenario that, you know, I've died in 100 times, where if we look up here, there's been a guy on this roof that holds me as I'm getting back into my car. He laser beams me. Or as I'm coming back out of this room, he laser beams me. So you want to always try to be aware of what rats are going to do. Because the fifth skill of Warzone, when it comes to dropping your PR, it's not a skill. But I'm just gonna say it like it is. Luck. Sometimes you got to get lucky. You know, sometimes you got to get those lucky breaks. There's 150 players. BRs are so RNG. They're so chaotic that, like, even if you play a perfect game, sometimes you can lose. But everybody knows that quote, luck is where preparation meets opportunity. All right, so you could just say, like, you could continue to blame everything. You could blame SVMM, you could blame cheaters, you could say everyone gets lucky, all that sort of stuff. But if you're watching this video, you're already doing a good job trying to learn these things. Why did I swap cars there? Swap cars there because I don't want to blow up, right? I've played enough Warzone. This is another example of, like, those teeny tiny 1% decisions. I've died blowing up, like, my car has gotten blown up on a PR type game so many times that I've now learned, like, hey, when your car is low, one stray grenade or, you know, one guy that unloads a full mag on your car in the middle of the open can kill your game. So we swap cars, get a healthier car. I'll skip a little bit ahead here. As I'm pulling up, just make sure there's no rats in this building.
Tracking a high-value target.
Hint for later. I end up running into 2 rats in that building. Okay, so we get really lucky on the big game bounty. It pulls really close to us. You're going to see me pop this UAV. I know I talked earlier about using UAV for 1 kill. This is different. Not only am I using the UAV to complete a contract, but I'm also using the UAV to fight a good player. Whenever you fight a big game bounty, it's usually a good player because big game bounties pull to players that have a lot of kills in the game. So using a UAV on a big game bounty, I will do it. Actually, I probably normally won't fight a big game bounty unless I have that information advantage, because I know that I have to be on my stuff when I'm fighting a big game bounty, because, you know, it's probably going to be one of the better players in my lobby, right? And so by just going into the big game bounty with a UAV, I turn a 50-50 into like a 55-45, right? Just by having that information advantage. So based up on the minimap here, what do you see? Picture in your mind exactly what's going on here. Right? We see ghosted player above us. So we know that ghosted player is probably on that wall. Right? He's either on those boxes, on that wall, or he's floating in the sky. He's probably not floating in the sky because he has ghost. Right? Like anybody regaining wouldn't have ghost. If you didn't know, solid dot, when you're using bird's eye, which you can't see right now, I'm using bird's eye. When you use bird's eye, it shows ghosted players. Ghosted players show up as a dot when you have bird's eye. When you have bird's eye, unghosted players show up as arrows. So we have 2 players that are above us. The only place that a player that can be above us inside of this building is either on the 2nd level or up top, right? This guy is not on our level, so he's either on the fence or on the boxes. This guy's obviously, you know, way up the hill, so we don't know where that guy is.
Can't fly over.
Center my crosshair where I'm most likely to see this guy, right? He's in the building up high. So he's either up on the roof, which is very unlikely, in this corner or in this corner. And so you can kind of see as I'm coming around this corner, I'm making sure that I'm centering my crosshair, or at least starting to. Not wall hacks, just UAVs. Okay, and so this is an example of me not doing a good job of using my UAV. I'll give myself a lot of grace here because as I'm getting this UAV, I'm already in the next gunfight, right? Like there's another pressing gunfight on me. I never really had the chance to look at my UAV.
Well done.
Especially once I see the RPG, I know that I have to like play off of this.
The enemy is no longer tracking you.
This is why you want your gunfights to not take a long time. Because I end up just never, by the way, I end up just never being able to check my UAV because this gunfight just takes too long, right? Even though it's an advanced UAV. So, we talked about this earlier, why I swapped my car. This is exactly why I swapped my car. Because I didn't want this to happen to me. When you ride around in a car for too long, eventually it's going to, you know, like, you're going to take shots. It's going to maybe get hit by a grenade or something. But eventually your car is going to get weak enough to where a good player, if they unload a mag on you, now you're stranded out in the open. And this is the exact situation that I was trying to avoid earlier when I swapped into my car. Dude had an RPG, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't care about the UAV here. I wanted to assassinate this guy, I wanted to BM, because I hate when players play with RPGs. I hate it. So, shoot his body. Alright, we completed the contract, we have 100, we're almost maxed out on our contract bonus. I have 39 grand. I can afford to pop an advanced UAV here. Excuse me. Haven't been able to record videos in a while. I'm starting to lose my voice.
Requesting recon.
Okay. Let's back it up.
Requesting recon.
So because we did all of these contracts, right? We had a lot of cash flow. The mid-game phase is about completing as many contracts as we possibly can so that later in the game we can do stuff like this. I have 12 kills. There are only 21 players remaining. To drop a 20+ kill game, I need to kill at least 8 of them. Right? And that's half of that's basically half of who's left, essentially. Maybe like 40% of who's left. And so we need to be thinking about, you know, the reason we're doing all of these contracts, the reason we're doing all these objectives is to get as much cash flow for the late mid game and the end game. UAV usage here. Where should I go? There's 3 objectives here that I can complete very quickly. 1, I can grab another big game bounty, which can turn into an advanced UAV, right? 2, we got 1 guy here, and 3, we got 1 guy here. And so I know that I can very, very, very quickly complete 3 objectives just off of this advanced UAV, right? We want to try and maximize the amount of things that we're doing with our UAV. Whereas like if I come over here, 1 kill. And then, you know, 1 kill, and then yes, I know where the next one is. But then at the end of the day, it's only 2 kills. I can come over here and get 2 kills very quickly and get a big game bounty. At least that's what I'm thinking. I'm not saying that's exactly what happens, but that's what I'm thinking.
Possible enemy.
Danger ping that, so I remember it for later. So now I'm like, okay, I can get this big game bounty, maybe 2 kills here, and now I know where a 3rd guy is. As we're pulling up here, we see up on the minimap, this guy is on the left side of the building. He obviously just shot at us. Do we want to re-peek this? Probably not, right? He's already pre-aiming us with a sniper. If I re-peek this slowly, probably going to get shot in the face. That's what he wants. So I run through the door, and then I pretend to go right, right? I'm making him think that I'm going to the other side of this building. I hesitate for a second, come back left. Of course, he goes to check right. Realizes I didn't, came back. What is this guy up here gonna think? If he's on the roof, what is he gonna think? He sees me shoot unsuppressed shots. He's gonna see where I am. He might check, right? This is one of those hundreds of times that I anticipate someone's gonna do something based off of the information, and it doesn't happen. But the one time it does, I say this in a lot of my videos because it's one of the things that aggravates me the most. The one time that I pull this off and I make this good read and this guy does pop up and I kill him, people will be like, oh, how did you know he was there? Even though I have an advanced UAV and all the information.
Switching backs.
Actually didn't notice he was right here as I was jumping. More so reading it on my map. Again, what is this guy gonna think, right? We know he's above our level. He just heard me shoot this guy. I'm pretty sure he also just shot the guy I killed. Hit a little jump spot. Very important here. Let me back this up. Pay attention to this dot. It's above us. Now it's on our level. And so what does that tell you? That tells you that he's inside this level. Well, a lot of times if you jump or you do something or you change your own elevation, it'll give you information on where other players are, right? Little blue jump spot here. I see the arrow goes down. I hear him underneath me. And so now what is my biggest threat? This guy's a level below us. We have a power position. We've taken his building. Our biggest threat is letting this guy come back up these stairs. So I waste no time in getting back over here. He's actually on the outside of the building, so I'm listening for jump spot. Another car pulls up. Another instance of not a great UAV, right? Like we came over here hoping that we would get 2 kills quickly, and get the big game bounty. I wouldn't say this is a bad use of a UAV, but it's not a great one because, right? Like I only get 1 to 2 kills here, and the big game bounty. So I know a car just pulled up. Now I know there's 2 guys here. This is kind of slowed down. It's kind of stalled. Again, the longer your gunfights take, the more chaos comes into the game, right? Like, had I killed that guy sooner, I wouldn't have got third party by this guy, and I wouldn't have got stuck here. But now that I am stuck here, I need to work with what I have. And so I am going to burn another UAV, because this is definitely a situation that I can feel, like, if I don't play off of concrete information, both of those guys aren't moving, right? And so if I want to get out of here, I have to either fight them or run. And I don't want to do either of those things without knowing exactly where they are.
Requesting recon flight.
So we got 1 underneath us and 1 in the house.
Over.
On our level, I hit a quick shoulder, and then I just ego chow this. Now, there's a really big difference between what I see a lot of players do, which is just full chow this, and what I just did, which was shoulder, pop back behind cover. He might think I'm gone away, might not think I've gone away, but either way, I know exactly where he is. I know exactly where he is now. I'm going to center my crosshair and basically start shooting before I even see him. Now I have first shots. It makes him run. Now, what is my biggest threat? My biggest threat is him coming back up the floor. We can see his arrow is running this way. So he's probably like literally right here running this way. My biggest threat is him coming back up the stairs. Once he pops his bunker buster on me, I'm just like, dude. All right. Have the building.
That's it. Shake it.
I really don't like when my gunfights take a long time. So a lot of times in these situations, you'll just see me run away. Saw on the last ping of the minimap that this guy was outside in this building. Easy kill. I don't really have a good way to fight this guy. Right. Both of them are on the outside now. Try to see if I can catch one of them making a mistake. They're both inside the building now. So I just go for the big game bounty. This is what originally I came over here for. What do I need to think about, though? I confirmed they were inside underneath me, but what did they just possibly hear? Might have possibly just heard me parachute. So they might check, right? Like, oh, he bailed. Oh, he finally made a mistake. Let me go try and punish him. So I turn around, immediately center my crosshair where I think this guy could pop up.
High-value target located. Bring them down.
Doesn't end up happening that way. I've wasted so much time here. More than I wanted to. More than I thought I would. But I ended up wasting a lot of time here. This goes into the pacing, right? Like we've talked about the phases of Warzone. We've talked about winning 1v1s, information, pacing, luck. These are the 5 skills that, like, I think it, just on a rough list, are 5 of the top 7 to 8 skills that'll help you drop your PR. So I've wasted a lot of time there. I grabbed the big game bounty. The big game bounty pulls over here. I knew that it was just one guy here earlier, right? Like, that's my previous information. I don't know if there's more here, but... Hear that guy inside double white. Concrete footsteps. Thought he was inside double white. Ends up being outside double white. I kill this guy, but my big game bounty doesn't go away, right? Get the information. Why do I reposition here? Why is it a good idea for me to reposition here? It's because that guy just saw me shoot an unsuppressed weapon, right? And he heard me kill that guy below him. Where does he think I am? He thinks I'm in this building, right? And so if I re-peek from that same angle, it's going to be a 50-50 gunfight. Or it's going to be a gunfight where he has a preem on me. And so I don't want to re-peek from the same angle. This is another thing that I've been working on a ton, is just trying to be shifty. Trying to change up the angles that people see me from. Because if I know where they are and they don't know where I'm at, it's an advantage for me. It's how I get first shots. So I get the info that he's in there. Use a little jump to cover up my audio. Now I can play up on this box and just center well. I get first shots there. I don't get the full kill, but I know a little cheeky jump spot. Get inside here. Get a nice little specialist out of this guy. Big game bounty complete. Now we have another, advanced UAV. I think this is another case of, like, I didn't do a great job with this UAV. It wasn't a bad job, but it wasn't a great job. And it's kind of just because I got caught in a gunfight. Again, that took too long. I was really just trying to play fast on all these because I knew that I had 3 kills nearby, potentially, right? And so I didn't waste my time staring at the map. I knew that I had 3 on my screen. I was just going to go try and get all of those and then look at my map. But I don't do a good job of it. I know there's one in the tower, and he's also sniping. Fortunately, couldn't get the kill here. I don't think there was a world that I even get that kill unless I'm sniping. So then I just decide to bail. I get a last little sliver of my... I get a last teeny tiny little sliver of the UAV right here. Like, you can kind of see the shadows. This guy backed off. This guy's here. This guy here, 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 here. So now I know that there's players to be had, but I also need to start thinking about the end game phase. The end game phase is about hitting your end game checklist and playing entirely for positioning. So you're going to see me slow way down here. I actually don't end up hitting my end game checklist because I already have most of the things I need. I have my self-res, I have my satchel, my gas mask, my smokes. The only thing I don't have is my munitions and precision, but I do have specialist. So specialist kind of mitigates the need for a munitions box a little bit, but there's just not a good buy here. There's not even really a buy that I can hit. So I just started moving towards where I knew there were players. This guy did a really good job of breaking my plates. I don't want to take that gunfight, right? Like, I could hop out of that car, throw a smoke down and plate up and fight that. That's a big waste of my time and resources. I'd rather go take a better position in the zone. Prime example of luck. Prime example of luck. Just run over a guy I wasn't even trying to run over. Also get lucky that The guy I killed earlier had specialists. Now I know where all these things are.
Switching mags.
Blow up all the stuff. Didn't notice that he was there. React well to it, though. Immediately get outside, create space, play inside the smoke. Now we're back to a 50-50. Now I get aggressive again. I knew there was two guys here. Not only because of, you know, seeing these through the walls, but also because of my advanced UAV earlier. I saw that there was two rats here. So this actually ends up taking a really long time. I'm hearing audio cues. I thought this guy was going to chase me around. I heard somebody behind me.
9 left.
End up slowing my game down way down here.
Changing mags.
Hear grass footsteps. Guy gets in the car. We see up on our minimap very briefly that there was a guy coming this way. I'm gonna skip a little bit ahead here. Shut all these doors. The reason I do that is for audio cues, not for safety. I want to hear if somebody comes through a window. I don't want to let them in my building for free, right? Was trying to hack that, it wouldn't let me. This guy's laying down there. I did my best to shoulder, right? If we back it up just a second here. If I'm going to take a 50-50 gunfight, I'd like to know where someone is. And so, as I do this, I hit a really quick shoulder, and you can see him sitting right here. He actually ends up popping the spring mines, even though they're mine. So from here, now I know this guy's for sure up here. I've blown up all his stuff. He just threw down another one. I'm like, all right. I'm just going to hit a jump spot on this guy. Again, changing up the angle people see you from. This is how you win 1v1s. You change the angle. That change of the angle helps you get first shots. You can get first shots, and you know how to track better. It's very easy to win 1v1s.
Changing mags.
Gas closing in.
All right. So now the zone is closed. In the middle of all of that, again, this is why we don't want to let gunfights take too long. I tried my best to get these gunfights done with quickly. Probably could have hit that jump spot a little earlier, but one of the disadvantages to letting your gunfights take too long is now I'm outside the zone, right? And so anybody that was here probably could have held me if they wanted to. I pop all this stuff because I know there's loot up here. Right now I'm doing the math in my head of like, okay, there's 6 players left. Where are they at? Do I have everything I need here? I don't know if this guy's still here. Heartbeat doesn't tell me he is. I don't know if he's ghosted. Hit this little jump spot, but I don't go through the roof. Or go through the window. The reason I don't go through the window is because we talked about way earlier in this game, when you put yourself in a vault animation, it's just an easy kill for somebody, right? So I use that jump spot to just visually check and see if he's there. He's not. Might be in the closet like he was earlier. Okay, now I've systematically cleared this doorway. There's a guy ahead of me out here. It's probably the guy that was in here. Now I need to figure out positioning. We got one guy here, and one guy here. So now I know that there's
You've made it to the top 5.
only one other guy that I don't know where he is. This guy is fighting the guy down here, right? Because the guy got out of the car. We hear shots. That means those two guys are fighting. This guy's right here. And I also hear something to my right that confuses me a little bit. But I should have known. I mean, a lot was going on here, but I should have known that this is all there was.
You're in the top 3. Don't let up now.
It was just a lot happening all at once.
Marking new safe zone.
And I didn't read it perfectly. But the point is I played up to the right, grabbed this little loadout head glitch, and I made sure that there was nothing over here. As I'm doing that, it narrows down to a 1v1, and we're just in a 1v1 situation now.
2 left.
I know those shots came from my left, and so I know that there's a player over here, right? Like, someone doesn't just... 99.9999% of the time, when you hear shots, that means at least 2 people are fighting, right? So when I hear shots on my left, I know that if there's only one guy left, there's only one guy to my left, I don't have to worry about anything else besides this guy. Shoot and move. From here, it's just very basic 1v1 stuff. Shoot and move. Every time I shoot this guy, it makes him hide. I change the angle that I'm popping up from. I'm slowly tightening the noose. Slowly getting better positioning. I talk about this in almost every single one of my videos. I use shoot and move at least once. Where I shoot a guy, make him hide, then I move up. Shoot a guy, make him hide, then I move up. Shoot a guy, make him hide, then I move up. whole time I'm making sure my centering is really good. The only thing I need to worry about here now, though, is if we look up at the map, we are out of position, right? Like, we're kind of both out of position. I'm outside the zone. He's a little bit outside the zone, but he has high ground, he has cover, and he can get to the zone better than I can. And so I know that I need to do something to even the playing field here. And this is where I feel like it's a good use of my smokes.
You've got gas moving in.
I'm trying to visually figure out what this guy is, audibly figure out what this guy is. He could, if he was really smart, he could have rotated super wide right and ended up over here, but he didn't. Ends up being to our left. But I don't know where this guy is. Point is, I don't know where he is exactly. Here's some footsteps. Throws a grenade. Now I know he's kind of over here. Zone is closing, so I'm like, all right, I gotta go. Little bit of a mistake here. I did a good job with that smoke. I probably should have thrown, instead of throwing the smoke here, I probably should have thrown the smoke here, because it ends up just bouncing too close to the other one. Check it before I go. Knife out, go. I do take a little bit of damage, but now I have the power position, right? Like, if we look at the zone up here, I now have control over most of this zone. He has to cross the road, and he doesn't really have a lot of cover, right?
Fire over here.
Take advantage of this guy's mistake. I rotate a little bit earlier. Again, changing up the angle this guy sees me from. I rotate this way while using the hill as a visual block, right? Like, I don't want to let him see me rotate this way. If I just shift the angle slightly that he sees me from, now I can catch him off guard again. When at all possible, I try not to take 50-50 gunfights. This does end up sort of being a 50-50 gunfight because I see him in the corner of my eye over here. Right there. I just saw him right there, but I still have the cover. And this guy knows that. So we trade shots here, throw my impact grenade, and I just play really aggressive on this. Because this guy starts running. Because if you think about from his POV, he knows I have the tree. If he just sits in these bushes, he probably dies, right? Because if I wanted to, I could just sit on that tree and wait this guy out. So rather than doing that, I just play really aggressive on it. I already have first shots, have the cover. He's on low ground. He's got nowhere to go. If you guys enjoyed this video,